Thank you.
Thanks, Ulf. And then Isabella.
Yeah, coming back to the tennis player, I found that really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, the reason why the soul is engaged, is that because the players are evoking their passion, their excitement, or is it just because the mind is not able to cope with that speed?
Both. Firstly, the player is playing the game because they love the game. It brings them joy, right? So for any player of any sport to start that sport had to have brought them some kind of joy. Once they engage that joy and they become good at the thing, that brings them even more joy. Once they become an expert at the thing, that brings you even more joy. And the more joy you're experiencing, the more happiness you experience, the more driven you become to be good at it. And the more you learn the principles of the game, which is everything becomes natural. I don't have to calculate anything. I don't have to work it all out by my mind. I can just do it. And once you transist from you having to work something out in your mind versus now you just do it automatically, that's when the joy happens.
Mm-hmm. Is that the thing with the chess player, for instance?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are not even really using their mind. They've just got this natural, instinctual desire for it, right? The difference with chess is that there's hardly any engagement of all the senses. It's only one sense. So any game you play that only has one sense engaged is pretty pointless compared to the ones that have 20 senses engaged. You know what I mean? So if I was you, I'd rather play baseball than I would play chess, for example, because with baseball, there are calculations you're making. Eventually you're getting swing. There's all these body things that you're going through, and there's all this connection you're going through as well. And there's the joy of once you succeed. See, the average person doesn't persist as long as the success comes. And what I mean by the success, I don't mean the success in the game, I mean the success of the emotion, the fulfillment of the emotion. The average person gets so frustrated and so down on themselves and angry and bitter and twisted about the game, like people play golf. Yeah, you do that a lot, right? Oh, yeah! You know, and they get so frustrated about the game that now the flow can't happen because fundamentally there's all this emotion that's now hooked into the game and being successful. You know, when it comes to any game, the purpose of the game should be to engage all your senses, right? So anything that engages all your senses, as long as it's not violent, so I don't recommend going and playing rugby in Australia or something like that, because it's quite violent, and you're going to get knocked senseless sometimes. In other words, the damage to your body is going to be so much you're going to be unconscious sometimes if you're not careful with that game. So I'm suggesting you choose a game wisely that's going to engage your senses and be enjoyable, and not done just for the unloving purpose of competition. Playing chess, there's two types of chess players. There's a type of chess player who just loves it. Then there's a type of chess player who plays it for competition. Right? Completely different. That's all about a very dark emotion that's driving them now. There's a kind of player of a sport that plays it only for competition. Very darkly driven now. It's out of harmony with love, out of harmony with your designs. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to get injured. You know, things are going to go wrong. And this is why many players who do it for competition end up with so severe injuries that they can't play anymore because they're doing it for the wrong purpose and doing it way beyond their desire emotionally to, they don't desire emotionally to damage their bodies, but their desire for the competition is greater than their care about their body. Now, that's a very stupid thing to do when it comes to involving the senses, right? So the important thing to understand, though, is that your senses are, once the senses are all flowing naturally, now joy can occur with whatever you're doing, right? When you're in the learning phase, the average person is learning firstly with their mind and not with their senses. And so you get very confused. It's like, oftentimes I'm given a new thing to do physically, and a lot of people are watching me while I'm doing it, right? And I'm going, but you're not letting me just make my mistakes, right? And learning from that. You're now watching me and criticising me. Now that's not conducive to my learning anymore. And now I've got to deal with all those emotions coming at me, as well as try to learn this thing. You can't enjoy it under those circumstances.
Like learning to drive a car.
Yeah. So it's like, it'd be great if we could all just get in a car and we had a backyard that was big enough, and you just get in the car and you try it all out for yourselves until you get it right. That's what I did. That's how I learnt to drive. We had a road about 1.5 kilometres long. The very first car I got, when I was 16, I got it on a Friday, and I had to drive it into the city on the Monday, and I didn't know how to drive. I'd only ridden a motorbike. So I didn't know how to drive or anything. So what I did was I got in this car, and I went up and down and up and down and up, and stopping, starting, and up for 2 days straight. By the end of those 2 days, I knew how to drive. Had a bike license, and ironically a car license, but I couldn't drive a manual. So it took me 2 days, and I did that. But by the end of it, it's like, I'm confident in the city. I'm not worried about, coordination and all those things, because your soul learned. Your soul learned. And if your mind learns, it's not as anywhere near as effective as your soul learning. So we need to learn to become soul-centric beings, because that's what we are. So the human is a soul, not of 2 bodies. It's not the physical and the spiritual body, it's the soul. Your bodies are just like, they do what the soul wants. We were over at Isabel, and then down here at Lena.
I don't know what my first question was, but it's kind of, when we talk about sports, like, is that the reason why, as a young child, you have big hobbies and doing stuff and are in the flow, but at some point it stops?
Yeah.
And then you get stubborn and cold.
What normally happens to a child is that anything they become good at is turned into a competition. Mm-hmm. So what happens is you become good at something because you really enjoy it, and then this very dark and evil emotion of competing comes over you. And in the process of the competing coming over you, now there's a lot of dark emotions driving your desire to continue in the development of that sport. Now you're going to be prone to all sorts of problems. You're going to be prone to certain attractions that try to correct that. You're going to be prone to people beating you all the time and coming home emotionally distraught because you've lost. And you're going to become prone to all of these things, which are very anti the soul. And so what happens after a while is the child gets so, if they're not rewarded through money or some other reward, they become so disappointed with the thing they give it up. Yep. So many of us have given up the things that could still benefit our learning at the soul level because of these external pressures that have happened once we became good at the thing. See, a lot of parents live through the emotions of their child. And so when a child becomes good at something, the parent thinks, I'm a fantastic parent because my child's good at that thing. And then they put a lot more pressure on the child to actually do that thing. As soon as that pressure comes, generally speaking, the average child enters a state of rebellion. And you can understand why.